Hi, so let's talk about depression. So, depression is super common. About 25% of women and about 10% of men experience depression at some point in their life. And so, if you have had this going on, you're not alone. And so, you may be earlier in your life, or mid in your life, or late in your life, and this is the first time that this has happened. And or you may be an expert in this and this is a mild version that you're experiencing and just want to get ahead of it before it goes too big. So bravo, glad you're here, glad you're taking care of it. And for those of you that this is new, I just want to go over the 9 symptoms, and this is one of the handouts that is in your downloadables, and it's called the 9 symptoms of depression, and I'm going to read those off just so that you kind of get those in your head of what to be looking for. And the first one is feeling depressed, just feeling sad in the day. Second is not experiencing pleasure as you would normally be experiencing. Third is you've experienced an increase or decrease in your weight. Fourth is that you have an increase or decrease in your sleep. Fifth is that you've had an increase or decrease in your activity, or you're feeling restless, not able to relax. Six is that you've had an increase or decrease. Well, usually it's an increase of fatigue or tiredness. Seventh is that you've had an increase in feelings of worthlessness. Eight is that you have had a decrease in your ability to concentrate and or make decisions. And finally, you've had thoughts about harming yourself. You can find this list that I'm just reading off of in your downloadables, and you can just take a look at it. Sometimes people don't realize that fidgetiness is part of depression, or that their concentration abilities may just be part of their depression. And I see so many people who walk in and go, I think I'm losing my mind. And I said, no, I just think you're depressed. And then this all comes with relief and being able to understand yourself and understand what's going on and being able to take a proactive stance for yourself. So the next thing I want to talk about is what makes people become depressed, because a lot of times people will say, well, this is out of the blue and I don't understand why this is happening to me. And I just like to go over some of the common things that activate a depression episode. And those can be things like a new medical condition, it can be a loss of a loved one, it can be the loss of a pet, it can be a chemical imbalance that you're experiencing, it can be getting upset when things happen, it can be world events. There's any number of things that can activate this. So really what the opportunity here is to just simply say, are things upsetting me right now? And if they are, we'll say, okay, that could be what is leading up to the depression. And we want to take a look at those and kind of have that in mind, because you are going to need to be protecting yourself from things of that nature. So for example, if you are world event oriented and you realize that that's causing you to be activated in your depression, I'm going to ask you to limit your television watching, your media exposure, and just really be careful about what kind of information you have coming in, because it may be making your mood worse. So what we're going to be talking about today is, remember, today's focus is, and this week I'm going to be really having you focus on how you think and what you're thinking about. And so when it comes to thinking, I generally think about it in terms of harmful thinking and helpful thinking. And so in your packet, in the downloadables, you're going to find that there are 2 lists that are full of examples of unhelpful thinking and helpful thinking. And what we think about in terms of, well, why we're even talking about this in depression is that what you think, your mood, and your behaviors, it's kind of a triangle of activation that is either going to be super helpful to you or less than helpful. And so this week we're working on thinking, and your thoughts really are quite powerful. And particularly negative thoughts are very powerful in terms of fueling depression. And what we really want to do is to be fueling yourself with uplifting thoughts that can improve your mood and make you feel better. So your to-do this week is read those negative thinking and helpful thinking categories. And I really want you to be catching yourself, checking it, and changing it. And so, for example, if you have a negative thought, like, I will never get the new job I want, I would like you to go, ooh, wait a second, catch it. That's a negative thought. and I'd like you to change it. I'm having a hard time right now, and eventually I will get the job I want. That's a positive thinking. Or even more positive, I will get the job I want. So sometimes people have to ease themselves into their positivity. And what I do know is that our thoughts are super powerful. You can practice these. And remember how I said at the very beginning, everything I give you is going to be practice oriented. So the first time you read the unhelpful thinking list, it's going to go, And what I'd like you to do is just give yourself permission in your activities log to read that at least 3 times this week in terms of helpful thinking. I don't really care if you read the unhelpful one. Unless you're having a hard time catching yourself, then you might need to reference that. And then I would like you to be really practicing up every day, and on your activities log, I want you to really be at least 3 times a day catching yourself, giving yourself an infusion of helpful thinking. Here is the orientation that we talked about. Depression's common. There are depression symptoms that I want you to become familiar with, and there are triggers. So bless your heart, I know that there's probably something that's led you to get to this place. And your thinking is one of the first triangle pieces that's going to be most helpful for you in feeling better.